E qui siamo nel quartiere d'Arsena del porto di Genova. 100 metri più
We are in the Darsena area, 100 meters from the old port. The Galata Sea Museum was born in the midst of these fishing vessels, the fish markets of the sea wharves, the scent of sea salt in the air, and a long history of seafaring.
Qui c'erano gli antichi cantieri navali dove facevano le galee. Più in là c'è anche, diciamo così, uno sguardo al futuro.
Due to its nomination as the 2004 Capital City of Culture, Genoa was able to enhance this area with the building of this museum, the Faculty of Economics and Commerce, and the new Nautical Institute.
Pierangelo Campodonico, direttore.
It's a case of the new brushing against history right here in this area, where in times of old huge galleons were built that would sail out to sea. On entering the museum we meet Pierangelo Campodonico, the director, and he explains to us something about the nature of the museum that we find ourselves in. It is the biggest Italian maritime museum in the country and offers a sort of sensorial and visual journey across the centuries of seafaring, right from the first galleons to modern-day vessels.
L'idea del museo con quale nasciamo è proprio quella di una macchina del tempo, per riportarti indietro all'epoca dei pirati, all'epoca dell'emigrazione, all'epoca...
It actually came about as a hands-on interactive museum capable of teaching while entertaining its patrons, giving an insight into the history of the sea through sounds and other audio facilities, imagery and colours that are characteristic of the maritime environment. The museum greets us with a huge, scaled-down model of a possible future port here in the city, based on the ideas of the famous architect Renzo Piano.
Guarda, questa è una ricostruzione dell'arsenale com'era nel 500-600.
This reconstruction that we're looking at now shows what the dockyard looked like in the period 1500 to 1600. This is where we are right now, where in times of old galleons were built in the depths of a magnificent and world-famous shipyard.
È o non è un percorso di gioco?
The point most definitely worth mentioning is that you really notice in passing from one room to another is that the museum was created with the intention of instructing and at the same time entertaining the public. Visitors can play the part of Genoese merchants and even ferocious pirates. We are now in front of an authentic representation of a 1600s galleon. It was modelled following the base plans and models created at that time. You can see that it was a veritable authentic construction, with the oarsmen all packed together inside, rowing away day and night, even in freezing conditions. Legend has it that a galleon built here in Genoa would last much longer than one built in Venice. The so-called galley slaves, or the oarsmen, due to this state of affairs, were also treated better than their Venetian counterparts, so that they would probably enjoy a longer working life, just like the galleon itself. The three-dimensional image shows the famous Andrea Doria in the act of buying coffers packed with gold from merchants. A little further on we find ourselves in front of an authentic brig from the year 1880, and you can actually get on board it and have a look around the internal areas of this characteristic craft of those years. All of the third floor of the museum is dedicated to the migration of people, from emigration of Italians to the Americans, and then the emigration of North Africans to Italy. From this area there begins an interactive itinerary, along which the visitor, pretending to be an immigrant, picks up his passport and gets onto the steamship called Torino, departing for North America.
Questa è la camerata degli uomini.
We can see a men's sleeping quarters in which you can sit on one of the beds and listen to the recordings of the letters that the immigrants sent to their homes.
Sono storie vere.
Certo, potrete dire che io vi abbia voltato le spalle, come si suol dire, che non mi ricordi a più del bene che mi volevate, essendo partito di casa senza neppur darvi i miei saluti.
Scrive De Amicis, 1888.
Something that wasn't particularly pleasant were the bathroom and toilet arrangements. The writer De Amicis described them as being the worst places on the ship.
piatto forte del museo è la visita sommergibile, ma prima del sommergibile vero c'è una specie
However, the best part of this museum is surely the visit on board the Nazario Sauro submarine. It is important to follow the special itinerary in which the basic rules and regulations are laid out concerning life on board this sea vessel before you actually get on board.
Buongiorno.
Ecco, a questo punto comincia un percorso didattico in cui io imparerò a stare in un sommergibile.
Another interesting detail is that you get measured up to work out whether or not you're the right shape and size to actually gain entry.
Qua devo fare la prova per vedere se ci passo. E da qui si vede anche i sommergibili in navigazione, che impressione. Ma questo museo è un
This
museo
museum is in continual evolution. In this room that is now empty, the arrival destinations for the Italian immigrants shall be reconstructed. Buenos Aires, Brazil, New York, Ellis Island, among
New
many
York,
others.
il Brasile, ci sarà il quartiere della Bocca, Ellis Island.
The construction of the last room of the museum is planned for the end of 2012. This room shall have a real-life representation of recent events regarding immigration. The reconstruction of a large-sized boat at Lampedusa, filled to the brim with North African immigrants during the last migration towards a new hope for life on other shores.